fresh out the box.
Fresh California plums.
Welcome to another episode of Fresh Film Fridays, the podcast where two dudes pick the newest films streaming or in theaters and discuss them. Today we're talking about 2022's All Quiet on the Western Front, which is currently streaming on Netflix and was directed by Edward Berger. I'm your co-host, Alec.
Oh, I'm Eric. Just kidding, it's Justin.
Dude, this movie was so good. Holy crap.
Oh, you liked it.
I mean, dude, yeah. I mean, it's a classic. This is a remake of an absolute, one of the first major Hollywood classics, you know?
Okay, so you did know this was a remake?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know this was a book, right?
Yes, so it's a book from 1929, I believe. And then they made it into a movie, the year later, in, 1930. So this book must have been so popular, dude. Because, can you imagine back then somebody makes a book of it, and then they're like, dude, we gotta make this a movie, immediately. So that's pretty cool.
The only reviews that I read that were slightly negative about it was that it wasn't, perfectly aligned with the book. That's how I found out there was a book. But other than that, 8 and 9s across the board for this movie.
Did they say specifically what was different that they didn't like?
I think some of the actors and then some of the events. I'm not too sure.
Some of the actors, of course.
No, like their personas.
I mean, that's probably my only criticism of the entire movie is that I didn't really know who I liked, with the exception of Paul and then the mustache guy, and then the guy with his the weird eye or whatever. All of his other kind of friends, I was just I don't know. Glasses guy? Okay. Nobody else had, defining personality traits, so I guess I can agree with that, if that's what they were saying, but...
Yeah, but is that a bad thing, or does that just mean the movie wants you to focus more on the two main guys?
Yeah, no, I think that's it. I think this movie is basically just about kind of, how soldiers get duped into the military. That's kind of what the message I took from it was. They went after these, kids, these, high school kids, and were like, you need to fight for Germany, and, and you're like, they know they're going to lose, yet they're still bringing in these young boys and telling them, this is for the pride of Germany, and blah, 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 and you're like, what? You guys started this war, and you're losing, but you're still willing to just throw away these lives for nothing. That's what I took from it.
Well, Germany did a lot of that, where they were getting young people because they were running out of soldiers, and that's why movies like Jojo Rabbit make fun of it, where they had the child brigade. They had actual kids defending Berlin at the end.
Jesus. Yeah, I mean, yeah. So to me it really does feel like false patriotism, forcing young youth into armies because of false patriotism. Mm-hmm. I don't really think it was about Paul, or any of the characters particularly. It's kind of just it's about loss, you find out that guy with the mustache cat or whatever, he has kids or whatever, and then, this guy dies, so he'll never see his kids again. And then the guy that he kills in the trench or in that, mud pit or whatever that he, suffocates and stabs to death or whatever, the French soldier, he finds out he has a wife and daughter and everything. So it's just kind of it made me think about war a lot differently, where it's when one of those people die, if they don't have any brothers or sisters or whatever, or cousins or anything, that's the end of a lineage. Right there. That's the end of an entire line of people. Right there.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting.
Yeah. The only real recognizable person in this, unless you've specifically seen German or Austrian film, is Daniel Bruhl.
Yeah, the dude from Inglourious Basterds.
Yeah, he's in a ton of mainstream Hollywood movies, but everyone other than that is Austrian and German actors. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to say two things, which I think you're going to be surprised about, and I wish Matt was here for this because I feel like he would agree with me. Number one, I feel like this is the best war movie told from the German perspective that I've ever seen, at least. And I've seen a lot of war movies. And number two, I would put this film up there with one of the top war movies in general that I've ever seen, up there with Black Hawk Down, up there with Saving Private Ryan, for a couple reasons. One, it was so good, and like I said, nobody recognizable in it. Two, this is a Netflix movie where it's literally 50-50 hit or miss. It's either going to be good or dog shit. And on top of that, it's dubbed, which doesn't necessarily mean a dubbed movie is worse, but I mean, if you don't like that slight delay, it might bother you a bit.
There were times where I was having trouble even telling it was dubbed.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, like Netflix is freaking good, dude. This is what I do. I mean, you know, that this is what I do. I dub over foreign films and TV shows and stuff like that. I really wish I could have worked on this one, dude, but it feels like all of the actors were British. I'm pretty sure, I don't think they use any Americans to dub this film over.
Yeah, which again, we talked about this on, what movie?
Yeah, I know what you're going to say. I don't remember the movie, though.
Oh, God. It was like 2 movies ago. Oh, Dracula Untold. We talked about this where, like, every, like, foreign movie, they use British actors, and, like, kids are growing up today thinking, like, Nazis spoke with a British accent, and, like, people in Transylvania spoke with, like, you know, like, his British accent. It's so funny.
I don't really understand why would it have been so bad to get, like, German speakers who speak English as a second language.
Yeah, what these movies should do is get German voiceover actors who speak English, but with a German accent, so it's at least more authentic.
Dude, I agree. I totally agree with you. Because, watching a movie about German soldiers in World War I having British accents, you're like, what is going on right now? Yeah, I didn't like that either, but I thought the dubbing was fantastic, though. That aside, you know, that they chose British actors. But yeah, I mean, it's a really, really intense movie, obviously, and yeah, it's sad. It's just like you're watching the losing side of a war, even though they instigated this war. Like they're losing, and like Paul, he's just a kid. Like, you know, he's like, what is he, like 17, right? Doesn't he like fake his father's signature in the beginning?
Yeah, he joined as a minor.
Dude, he is like a little kid signing up to be in World War I, and dude, like, the ending is so sad. You're like, they surrendered. Like, they literally surrendered, and that fucking Dr. Robotnik looking, like, German soldier.
Damn you, go gadget.
Dude, he's such an asshole. He's just like, you're going to do this for Germany. And it's just like, wait, whoa. You already surrendered. So you're literally just sending these guys to die. And then if anybody speaks up, they get killed.
Yeah, there was a lot of that at the end of like World War I, World War II, where a lot of miscommunication, mostly due to technology, but you know, the war was over, or like generals agreed, like there was a ceasefire or something, and at the end, like some German generals, like if you notice at the end of the first one, there was so much miscommunication, and that's what happened in real life, where people didn't even know if the war was over, and there were still battles going on, and some German generals were still fighting, saying like, no, even though, like, you know, if Hitler's alive or dead, like, we can't give up till everyone's dead. And it was just like mass confusion.
I think the Dr. Robotnik guy, though, I think he knew that it was over.
Oh, yeah,
he was doing this just because, like, my father was like a commander, and I was a commander, but there's no war, like, sort of thing. So it's like, he's doing this so his name, his legacy. But it's like, for what? So you could say, like, yeah, we surrendered, and then I won the last little bullshit battle, which could have reignited the war, you know? Like, what if the French side was like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? You just said you surrender, now you're attacking us. Like, because the final battle, the French troops are all sitting in the trenches or whatever, just, like, drinking wine. They're like, hey, we did it, or whatever. And then all of a sudden the Germans run over there and start attacking them. It's like, whoa! We just said they're no more.
Well, they had an armistice, technically. So, like, they had, like, a ceasefire truce until, like, you know, the 11th hour on the 11th day or whatever. But nobody expected anything to happen.
Yeah, that's so messed up. That's so messed up. And Paul he just saw all of his friends get killed. Everybody he's gotten close to has died. The war is over. He's going home, and then literally dies right at the end.
Yeah, and it's kind of cool because I don't know if you picked up on this, but like in the beginning of the movie, Paul was like the scared, nervous kid who his older friends who were kind of like with him on this journey, like protected him and saved his life and like taught him to be tough. And that's what he was doing at the end to that like scared redhead soldier who he saved his life like multiple times.
Yeah.
And it ended up getting him killed. And I was like, damn. Like history's just repeating itself in the movie.
Well, dude, yeah, it's the same thing. It's like you see, or in the beginning, Paul's grabbing the dog tags and, sees his friend and starts crying, and it's just like, my life, like, Jesus Christ, my friend's dead. And then, literally the exact same thing happens to him. And then he takes, what is it, like the bra or whatever he was wearing? He's wearing a girl's thing, right?
I think it was a handkerchief.
Oh, okay, yeah, because it like smelled like the girl, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so then now it just gets passed on to that next guy, and he just keeps walking like whatever. Dude, it's so sad. But that's the thing, like, this movie actually has not the. Well, no, I think the movie does have a sequel too, but there's a sequel to the book. Do you know about this?
No.
It's called, what is it? The Road Home, I think? Yeah, The Road Back from 1930. And apparently it's just, although the book follows different characters from All Quiet on the Western Front, it can be assumed that they were in the same company, as all the characters recall the other characters from the earlier novel. Huh. Interesting. I don't know. Wonder if they'll make a sequel. Oh yeah, so they did make a sequel to the movie in 1937 too, The Road Back. So that's the thing, I would wonder if they ever did make this, it's like, oh, is it just like the handkerchief kid or whatever now, and he's just gone, and... I mean, the war's over now, so what? I don't know what would happen, but I don't know.
Yeah, there's a ton of good action. I liked the character bonding that they had. There was kind of like, I wouldn't say it was like a love story, but, you know, like they're all reading letters from their wives and their family and reminiscing about, like, when we get back, we're going to have, you know, bratwurst and sauerkraut and whatever. And it was just cool to see it from this perspective because, you know, I've read a lot of books on it, and this, you know, Germany was super powerful in the beginning, and by the end of it, which is when this movie takes place, like, all those new recruits were getting dead uniforms. That's why they were ripping the tags off, and they couldn't even feed their soldiers by the end of it.
Yeah, at the beginning where they're like collecting the dead soldiers' clothes and then just washing them and stitching them up and stuff like that. You're like, oh god, oh my god. Yeah, even in the beginning, like, oh, this has someone else's name on it, and the guy's like, oh fuck, sorry. That happens all the time. Yeah, that was really messed up. The action though, dude, the one scene that I was like, yo, this is really cool is the tank or whatever. They're just going, and you see them run up, they blow up one of the wheels, and then they, like, shove it into the gun hole or whatever, and then they blow that up, and then all the guys come out and they start shooting them. I was like, oh my god. Like, this is so intense.
That scene was sick. All the trench fighting was awesome.
Ugh.
It was just so realistic. Like, if you read history books on it, like, that's how it was. Like, they were usually, like, knee-deep in water, which is why you get trench foot, and it's just like, dude, that scene where the Germans were eating all the French food in that room, and they felt the vibrations, and all the rats came out. I was like, oh my god, dude.
Well, even the trench scene, or like all the trench scenes, dude, they say that one line at the end of the movie where they're like, 3 million people died, like, in this, like, square mile, where it's like, you know, the front line just kept moving up by, like, a couple meters, like, forever.
Let's call it's no man's land.
Dude, like, okay. You know how they're like, oh, like when somebody dies, like in a tragic way, like their ghosts or their energy will stay in that area and it'll be haunted or whatever. That must be the most haunted place in the world, dude.
Yeah, I wonder what's there now. Like, is it still just an empty field, or?
I mean, maybe it's like a museum. I don't know, but people talk about like, oh, when bad stuff happens, like the energy's bad. It's like, well, that's got to be pretty fucking bad energy, dude. I don't know.
I also, one of my favorite scenes was when they were all retreating, and he got stuck where he killed that French soldier, Ray, and he was looking through and he found the pictures of his wife, and when he put his helmet on a stick and lifted it up, and immediately a sniper hit it, and you knew he was fucked. Like, he can't get out of that hole.
How did he get out of that hole?
I'm assuming it got dark, you know, when it became nighttime, and he crawled out.
Dude, they gotta show that.
Yeah, they should have showed that, though, yeah.
I didn't like that.
They just showed him walking,
Yeah, I was like, whoa. You can't set it up like he's trapped, and then all of a sudden the next scene you're like, well, yeah, that happened off screen, though. So, like, now he's not there anymore. Yeah, I want to see him crawling at night. Like, you know, that would have been an interesting scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, but him killing that French guy in that hole, though, like...
That was an intense scene.
Even if he survived, like, let's say he didn't die, because Paul dies in this movie. Let's say he didn't die. Dude, he's fucked for life. You're never going to forget that. You're going to be thinking about that every night. When you go to bed, you're going to be thinking about the sound of that guy, like, choking on the sand or whatever. Like, that's never going to leave your head. Ever.
Well, dude, he stabbed him a bunch, and then like, imagine being stabbed, right?
Yeah.
And he's on his back, drowning in his own blood, and then this dude shoves wet mud in his mouth.
He's like, shut up!
Like, you're choking on mud and blood, and then he takes the mud out, and he tries to heal him. or like stop the the bleeding. And you could tell like once it wound down and he came back to his senses because like his fight or flight was gone, he was like, oh shit, dude, like this other person, not the enemy soldier, is dying, and he tried to help him. That was interesting.
I mean, I think that's what this whole movie's about. It's just about seeing the enemy as a human. That's what they are. It's so fucked up, dude. War is so fucked up. And you just think, you're like, well, yeah, but that was like, 100 years ago. That would never happen again. It's like, it's happened so many times since then. And, yeah, I mean, nowadays, war is so, like, non-personal, with, like, the drone strikes and bombs and all this stuff. And, I mean, dude, this takes place in, what, 1919? 1918?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Dude, flight was invented, like, not even 20 years before that. It was like 1903 when airplanes were invented. So, like, they're saying in this movie, they're like, you cease all attacks on land, sea, and air. And you're like, damn, dude. Like, so somebody invented the airplane. Like, hey, this will be fun. Like, oh my God, we can get from, like, North Carolina to South Carolina in, like, an hour. This is great. And then they're like, well, we should use this to go fucking murder people. Like, is that humans' first reaction? They're like, hey, we made this, like, gun. It's a lot better than bow and arrows. Now we can kill buffalo easier. It's like, why don't I shoot you in the face first? Like, why is it our first reaction? Everything, we can kill people with this.
Yeah, let's put a machine gun on it.
Right, though? Like, I don't know. So, yeah, like 20 years before this, the airplane didn't even exist. And here we are, 100 years after the end of this war. That's just crazy, man. I don't know.
Yeah, it was just great, though. Like, I was watching it for, like, I think 2 weeks on Netflix. I kept scrolling by, and I was like, this movie looks good. It got good reviews. I know I'm eventually going to see it. And then I saw some people reviewing it on Twitter, and I was like, I don't remember what happened. I think I just had some time, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to start this. And like 20 minutes in, I was like, holy shit, this is really good.
I was like 40 minutes in, and I had to pause to go to the bathroom. I was like, dude, that flew by. Like, those 40 minutes flew.
Yeah, this is a 2-hour, 28-minute movie, which is a long movie, but there was no point where I was watching and I was like, oh man, like, there was always something happening. Like, even just like the character building, showing like the struggles they had, like when Paul and his mustache buddy like would go and steal birds from the farmer, or like they would sit around and peel potatoes and like tell jokes and like, what are you gonna do when you get back home, and blah blah blah. Even though the kind of ironic thing about this is, even when the war ended, like wherever they lived in Germany was probably blown to shit. So
yeah, I mean that's kind of what inspired World War II, was like how shitty Germany was after World War One. So like,
well, the crazy thing, which is why I would have liked Matt to be here, because I know he's a history buff, is the crazy thing is, they were arguing on that train about the treaty to sign, right? Mm-hmm. And the German people who were signing it were like this is going to cripple our economy, and like the Allied forces were watching over Germany like a hawk, and their economy was just fucked. Yet somehow, even with no money and rebuilding and having enemy troops guarding them, they not only rebuilt an even stronger army, but did the exact same thing again.
Dude, Germany's done that 3 times. You realize they're the biggest superpower in Europe again right now?
Yeah, they paid off all their debt from World War II like a couple years ago. It's like, how the fuck are they doing this?
Dude, there's something about like German people. It's kind of crazy.
We are better than you, and we know it.
It's like, listen, like, all of that Nazi stuff is fucked up, but, like, Volkswagens are pretty good. Like,
they're like, guys, 38th MPG. It's like, it's pretty good.
It is weird how well Germany has been able to rise and fall, like, so many times in 100 years. Like, it's just odd. It is odd. And it seems like they're really cool though now. Like Angela Merkel or whatever, she's like, we're really, really sorry. Like, we're really sorry still.
It's super duper sorry.
Yeah, like seriously.
I will say, and I don't remember where I was. I think maybe like somebody I had some European friends. Fuck. I think it was a British dude. And I asked him, I was like, hey man, Germany, you guys like them? And he was like, no. I was like, oh shit, okay.
Really?
Yeah, because I'm sure, like, you gotta think about it. If there's, like, British people our age, for example, and if anyone from the UK is listening to this, I'm sure it doesn't necessarily mean you guys specifically, but if you're a 30-year-old British person, I'm assuming your grandparents went through this, or at least the repercussions of this, because I know my grandparents did. And they didn't have anything good to say, and it made their lives harder. And then that passed down to probably their kids, which are our parents. And, people don't forget.
Yeah, I guess if you are...
Especially European countries. Like, if you grew up with, the enemy invading your village, you don't really forget that.
I mean, you're probably right. Like London got absolutely decimated by German artillery strikes and bombings and all that stuff. I know it's been rebuilt. It's been 80 years or whatever. But yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. My grandparents were born in the early 40s, so I'm trying to imagine, the first 10 years of their life. They're like, yeah, it sucked. Like they were rebuilding all this shit. Like it fucking sucked.
It was just so good, and I never would have thought Netflix would pump out one of my favorite war movies that I've ever seen with actors that I've never even heard of before.
I mean, this legit might win Best Picture. I mean, it might get nominated for Best Picture.
It's got to win something, dude. I mean, maybe best foreign film on Netflix or foreign action film or something. I mean, it obviously doesn't show financials, but if this came out in theaters, I think it would have made a killing.
Yeah, it probably would have done really well. Yeah. I don't know, dude. I love Saving Private Ryan just because it's a fun movie, but it's so unrealistic. That would never happen. This movie seems like it actually could. This is probably what happened right at the end.
Yeah, filmed in Belgium, Czech Republic, Prague, and Germany, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Let me see here. Official submission. It was submitted for the Best International Feature Film category of the 95th Academy Awards for 2023. Best International Feature Film. Okay.
So every year there's the best foreign film or whatever. So yeah, they submitted for that. So I mean, I haven't seen the other ones. I don't know what else is nominated yet, but it's a good one. This one is a good one. Go check it out. I haven't seen the original one, but I did watch some of the footage last night, just to see the comparisons or whatever. Dude, that movie looks pretty good too. From 1930, yeah. How crazy some of the shots they got were, and no extras, no special effects. It's real, what they're doing. So that movie came out in 1930, man.
Yeah, black and white.
Oh yeah. It's black and white. It looks intense though. I mean, all the scenes are very similar. Remember in the beginning when they all go into the the trench or whatever, and it collapses, and they're all be quiet, and the one guy's freaking out, and he goes to leave, and so they show that scene in the 1930s version. I'm like, yo, those people are dead. Those aren't actors. They just killed those people.
Well, there's the movie that came out in 1930, and then there's a TV movie version that came out in 1979, and that has Richard Thomas, which is the kid from It, and then also Bilbo Baggins in it.
Really?
Yeah, look on IMDb. It's the 1979 version. Billy, the kid from It, is Paul. And then Bilbo is some guy named Himmelstas, one of the Germans, I'm guessing.
Heck? Well, that's good. Yeah. I mean, I didn't see I don't think that one did nearly as well. A TV version of this, I feel would not be good.
No, 7.1. But, really? Dude, I can't believe that they killed the mustache guy, Stanislaus, at the end. I was just thinking, dude, how frustrating that must be, because, they were done. They were literally about to go back to their family. He was finally going to see his wife again and, start making shoes again and shit. And they just went out for, a celebratory one last bird, and the kid shot him, the farmer's kid. And just like Paul said, it was a very small shot. It was one buckshot, but, it hit him, in the liver. Yeah. And that's why it had the dark blood, and it killed him. And you could tell the look on Paul's face when they went back for that attack, and the Germans who were saying no, and they shot him against the wall, and that's why Paul just pushed the other kid, just go. You could tell on his face, he just didn't seem like he cared if he died anymore. He just wanted to be done with it.
Oh yeah, I mean, because everybody close to him had died except for the mustache guy, and he's finally, I've got this guy at least. But that's the other thing. Let's say mustache guy survived, they would have had to go into that final battle again. Either way, so mustache guy could have died there too.
Mustache guy,
or whatever his name's, Cats. Yeah, Cats could have died there. Yeah, dude, god damn it, I was so sad for Paul.
I thought he was gonna go back and kill the farmer kid.
Oh, I didn't know what was going to happen, dude. I was not I knew somebody was going to come out, but I didn't think it was going to be a little kid. He made that face, though, when they showed him. He's just like, I'm going to fucking, you stole another goose from my dad.
When Katz was aggressively walking out of the forest and he was like, we should go, I thought what had happened was you were going to see a scene where he grabbed the shotgun from the kid and killed the kid. Because, like, you know, like his life was threatened, and that's where they were like, we got to get out of here. We just killed, like, a German kid. But then you find out he was shot, and I was like, damn.
I think he killed the kid. I think he probably went for the gun. He shot the guy, and then the guy took the gun and just beat the kid to death. And he's like, all right, we got to get the fuck out of here.
Oh, that could have happened, too. Yeah, they didn't show what happened. I'm not sure if they didn't show it because the kid got away, or they didn't want to show, like, a dead kid in Netflix or something. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think it is really that important, but I just don't get the feeling that guy got shot and then the kid ran away and the guy was like, yeah, you're fine. You can just get out of here. I don't know. Maybe he did.
Any last thoughts before the review?
No. I think it's a great film. I think everybody, if you like war movies, definitely check it out. It's very good war movie. One of the best in years. So, yeah, loved it.
So 7.8 IMDb, what would you give it?
Ooh. Yeah, I'm going 8, bro.
Okay.
I like this. This is a sick movie.
I'm going to go 9. Real high.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I think this was historically a great story. If you're a history buff, if you're a war movie buff, if you're specifically a World War I, World War II buff, where you like the trench warfare, I mean, it really hit the nail on the head in so many aspects.
And now that Jim Carrey's retired from acting, in the new Sonic movie, we have a Robotnik. So we're good. We're good. Yeah, this guy was perfect, so...
Yeah, he did. If he had a big orange mustache.
He did have a big orange mustache.
Yeah, but I mean like bigger, like Robotnik bigger.
Keep growing it now. He's fine. But yeah, no, this was very good movie. I almost want to see like a behind the scenes to see like what was CGI, what was real. Like I don't know, dude. I'm very into this movie. So
yeah.
Anywho, I don't know what's our next movie. Did you pick what we're doing?
No, it's a surprise.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Well, everybody, thank you very much for listening into our episode today on All Quiet on the Western Front. If you haven't had a chance yet, we released our episode on Gremlins 2 for Wheel of Horror on Monday, and then this upcoming Monday we have 28 Days Later with Justin Wellickson also as the guest. So check that out on Monday. Otherwise, we'll see you guys all next Friday with a surprise movie that we don't even know what it is yet. So, see you then.